This is TOS TV, your digital first Pan-African network. I'm Adesu, and this is Africa Now. It was an unpleasant week for the African continent this past weekend. 6 people, including civilians, were killed when security forces in northern Burkina Faso were ambushed by militants on Sunday. A soldier and 5 civilian volunteers for the defense of the fatherland are reported killed in the attack. The civilian volunteers are part of a network that helps the army in fighting militant groups operating in Burkina Faso. The VDP was formed more than a year ago to support efforts by vigilante groups operating in the volatile northern and eastern regions of the country. More than a dozen people have been killed and hundreds wounded in a series of powerful explosions at a military base in Equatorial Guinea's largest city of BATAKLL, according to officials. The Defense Ministry said at least 20 people were killed and some 600 people injured. Videos showed groups of people pulling bodies from piles of rubble. There were also media appeals for people to donate blood, saying hospitals are overwhelmed. Pickup trucks filled with survivors, many of whom were children, drove up to the front of a local hospital where some victims were filmed lying on the floor. In a statement on national television, President Teodoro Obiang said the blasts on Sunday were caused by negligence of a military unit in charge of storing explosives, dynamite and ammunition at the Ntoma military camp. He added that the explosive caught fire due to stubble burning by farmers in their fields and that the blast caused damage in almost all the houses and buildings in BATAKLL. Obiang Nguema issued a plea for international aid, saying that the disaster comes at an already difficult time for Equatorial Guinea due to the economic crisis caused by falling petrol prices and the COVID-19 pandemic. At least 8 people, including guards, died and more than 170 were injured after a fire ripped through an immigration holding facility in the Yemeni capital, Sana'a, the United Nations Migration Agency said. A UN official said the fire broke out in a hangar close to the detention center's main building. The total death toll from the fire on Sunday, whose cause remains unclear, could be higher. International Organization for Migration Regional Director for the Middle East and North Africa, Carmela Godot, said in a Twitter post. Emergency health care for the injured have been provided, more than 90 of who were in serious conditions, and distributing food to those affected, Godot said. The Houthis rebels believed to run the immigration detention center said civil defense teams managed to extinguish the fire and investigations were ongoing to determine its cause. More than 2,500 migrants reached Yemen from Djibouti in January this year, according to the IOM. On a lighter note, the 2020 IBRAHIM Prize for Achievement in African Leadership has been awarded to MAHAMADOU ISSOUFOU, President of Niger. Mo Ibrahim Foundation announced following a meeting of its Independence Prize Committee. The IBRAHIM Prize aims to distinguish exceptional leaders who, during their time in office, have developed their countries, strengthened democracy and protected rule of law for the shared benefit of their people. President MAHAMADOU ISSOUFOU served 2 5-year terms as President of Niger from 2011 to 2020. He is the 6th recipient of the IBRAHIM Prize, which recognizes and celebrates excellence in African leadership. Announcing the decision, Festus Mogae, chair of the prize committee and former president of Botswana, said, "In the face of the most severe political and economic issues, including violent extremism and increasing desertification, President MAHAMADOU ISSOUFOU has led his people on a path of progress. Today, the number of Nigerians living below the poverty line has fallen to 40% from 48% a decade ago. While challenges remain, ISSOUFOU has kept his promises to the Nigerian people and paved the way for a better future." After careful consideration, the committee finds President ISSOUFOU a worthy winner of the IBRAHIM Prize. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You're watching Africa Now. Political stories from the African continent coming up after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. We continue with politics. Ivory Coast opposition party, the Democratic Party of Côte d'Ivoire, has claimed majority victory in the just concluded parliamentary election held on Saturday. The general coordinator of the opposition party, Niamey Kofi, told journalists on Sunday that they had captured over 128 seats out of the total 255 parliamentarians. He further alleged that preliminary results were riddled with irregularities. Raising concerns, Kofi alleges that the results may be manipulated and warning the government against any attempt to falsify them. Meanwhile, the ruling Kotara RHDP party also made the same claims of victory. This is despite the official result not yet declared by Electoral Commission. Saturday's legislative elections were generally calm, unlike the presidential election of October 2020, marked by violence before and after the election that killed 87 people and injured some 500. The Senegal Education Ministry on Sunday said schools will be shut until March 15 after days of violent protests that have paralyzed parts of the capital, Dakar, and are expected to continue this week. At least 5 people are reported to have died in demonstrations sparked by the arrest of Ousmane Sonko, Senegal's most prominent opposition leader, on Wednesday. Sonko, who enjoys strong support among the young, was arrested after an employee of a beauty salon accused him of raping her. Sonko denies the allegation and says it is politically motivated. Opponents of President Macky Sall have called for further protests on Monday. Pressure increased on Saturday after a 17-year-old boy was killed by gunfire in southern Senegal. The influential League of Imams and Preachers of Senegal on Sunday have called for the release of Sonko and a return to calm. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi called on Saturday for a binding deal by the summer on the operation of a giant Ethiopian hydropower dam as he made his first visit to neighboring Sudan. Egypt also signaled support for Sudan in a dispute with Ethiopia over an area on the border between the two countries where there has recently been armed skirmishes. Last week, Egypt's chief of staff signed a military cooperation agreement with his Sudanese counterpart during a visit to Sudan. We affirmed the necessity of returning to serious and effective negotiations with the aim of reaching, as soon as possible and before the next flood season, a just, balanced and legally binding agreement, Sisi said after meeting Sudan's leaders. Meeting with the head of Sudan's ruling council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, Sisi also discussed recent Sudanese move to extend state sovereignty on its eastern borders with Ethiopia, which come within the context of Sudan's respect for international agreements. A statement from Egypt's presidency said, Sudan recently proposed that the United States, European Union, United Nations, and African Union should actively mediate in the dispute rather than simply observing talks, a suggestion that Egypt supports. To COVID-19 updates, Mozambique will on Monday begin a countrywide vaccination campaign against COVID-19, as it's the custom with many nations. Health workers will be the first to be vaccinated because of their high exposure to infection. During work, the Ministry of Health says it has distributed 121,530 vaccine doses to the provinces out of the 200,000 doses that the country received from China last month. The country expects to receive an additional 484,000 vaccine doses on Monday. These include 384,000 from COVAX initiative and 100,000 of the Covishield vaccine donated by India. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You're watching Africa Now. Coming up, Ghanaians fault power firm over outage after the break. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Ghana was hit by a nationwide power outage on Sunday and a total system shutdown. The country's electricity provider, Gridco, said the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, said that at approximately 2:10 p.m., a challenge in the power system led to a total system shutdown. This led to an interruption in power supply to all parts of the country, the company said in a statement. It added Gridco is also working to ascertain the reasons behind the total system shutdown. The power outage drew criticism from Ghanaians online. In the past, when the lights went off, we blamed the president of the day. This time, we know better. All eyes on Gridco and ECG because the president of the day doesn't operate lights, said a Twitter user. Government is tight-lipped on the matter, but the citizens are demanding for the power shedding timetable. And in business, Kenya has, with immediate effect, banned the importation of maize from 2 neighboring countries, including Tanzania and Uganda. In a letter by the Acting Director General of the Agriculture and Food Authority, Kelo Harsama, to Pamela Ahago, the Commissioner of Customs in the Kenya Revenue Authority, the import should stop after a survey conducted indicated maize from the 2 countries contain high levels of mycotoxins, not fit for human consumption. Mycotoxins are naturally occurring toxins capable of causing disease and death in humans and other animals. Long queues of trucks were on Saturday seen at the Namanga border after the Kenya Revenue Authority reportedly denied the trucks entry into Kenya. The Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Bashe, said the government of Tanzania is taking the ban on maize imports seriously. Kenya's body charged with regulating developing and promoting scheduled crops said they are committed to facilitating safe trade with her trading partners and look forward to working closely with all stakeholders to address the concern. And that is Africa Now on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS TV. For more updates, visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Also follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS TV Network. I am Adesua Osuyi. Thanks for watching.